Good morning, gentlemen. Wonderful time to talk to you. I'm sitting in my drawing room here. A wonderful painting at the back, as you can see. Yes, you can see it. And I'm going to talk on something very important. I'm going to talk to you about what's all happening in the world today. I mean, it's a very dangerous world. I don't remember in my lifetime that I've seen such a dangerous situation as it is now. The first thing we must remember is that there is danger in Europe, there is danger in the Middle East, there is danger in the Indian subcontinent, and there is danger in the South China Sea. So these are the points we must bear in mind. Let's start with the first one, that is the danger in Europe. Now here, our good friend Joe Biden has decided that the time has come for him to say goodbye, but before that he must, like Samson, create a magnificent impression all around so that the world remembers him. Samson did it by pulling down the temple of the heathens in the Bible, but he's got other plans. That is our good friend Joe Biden. And he's given the green signal to Zelensky, the dictator of Ukraine, to attack Russia by any means so that Donald Trump is presented with a fait accompli when he comes. And Zelensky, true to his salt, has attacked the Russians' hinterland, and now there's been further escalation. One of the Russian generals has just been assassinated, and he was going from his home to the office, and the net result is he was blown up. So now the chances of peace are that much remote. There's not going to be no chance of peace at all at the moment. That Vladimir Putin is furious, and I think even Donald Trump must be angry because it derails his plan to have peace in Ukraine the day he enters office. He's not going to be able to do that. And of course, the three Western powers who are rooting for Zelensky, that is Great Britain, I don't think it's great anyway, it's a little Britain, France and Germany, will be cock-a-hoop that this thing has happened, the war continues, and they can try and defeat Russia. Macron, if you remember, had made a very silly statement once. He'd said, "We cannot allow Russia to win." What the hell he means by that? Anyway, I'll let it pass. The battle is on in Ukraine at the moment. It's a very, very dicey situation. Russians could use nuclear weapons. I mean, tactical nuclear weapons. And if Donald Trump comes to power, I don't think he's going to retaliate with nuclear weapons as well. That's my point of view. So it's a very, very touch and go position as far as Europe is concerned, sitting on the brink of a world war. Now let's look at what's happening in the Middle East. Now Assad, the dictator, has just vanished. He's vanished like the morning dew, He's run away to Russia. What the hell he's going to do there, I don't know. Because Russia is also a dictatorship and they could get rid of Assad anytime. He ran away with a lot of gold, and I believe he purchased about 11 luxury flats in Moscow. Going to spend his life there. I think he was a very poor strategist. Only if this man had thought it better and not acted so foolishly as he did, he could have signed the Abraham Accord way back in 2020 when Donald Trump was the president, and he would have saved his skin. He would have been still in power, and he would have been under the protection of the Americans. But he chose to get the protection of the Russians and the Iranians, and I think Russia was a very, very poor substitute. And in this critical moment when the battle was on, by the opponents of Assad, the Russians couldn't intervene. They were zero, because they were tied down in Ukraine. And there's nothing much the Russians could have done there. Iran, of course, not a big power at all. And for it to fight any battle hundreds or tens of miles from their border is next to impossible. They don't have the wherewithal, nor the technical know-how, nor the spirit of the army to go and fight there. Net result is that day by day Assad was being defeated by the American-Israeli plan, and Turkey also joined in for the spoils because Turkey didn't want the Kurds to come to power because Turkey equates the Kurds with the terrorists, and Erdogan has gone on and said that he will not allow terrorism to come to Syria. So the next gentleman is that Syria is destroyed, Assad has run away, and I don't know the person who's taken over is going to have a hold because the Israelis are now deep into Syria. They're just about 30 or 35 miles from Damascus, the capital of Syria, so you can well imagine how the situation is going on there. It's a dicey situation again, and there could be a configuration. The next target could be Jordan, and because the victory in Syria is actually the victory of the ISIS, it's shown is again, and the Americans and the others and the Israelis again committing a big mistake by giving legitimacy to this regime. I think Erdogan has realized that it's not possible. He has declared he will not have a terrorist regime there. Let's wait and see how it works out. Now let's come down to the third danger, and that is Bangladesh. I think this country has gone haywire. They want to commit the famous word harakiri, kill yourself, and you go to salvation, you get God. That's how the famous writer Yushi Mishima, I think that's his name, you got it correct, who wrote that famous book, You Only Live Twice. Once when you're born and once when you face death. And that's what the Bengalis believe in. That is the East Pakistanis earlier. They think they can go back to East Pakistan with folded hands, and they want to forget about all the 200,000 Bengali girls who were made pregnant by the Pakistan army. You forget about all that, including the Razakars. Doesn't matter. You can make another 2 lakhs pregnant, good enough. And no less a man than General Niazi, who was the commander-in-chief of the Pakistan Eastern Command, had made a statement that मैं इनकी नस्ल change कर दूंगा, यानी I will change the race of the Bengalis who are black and smart once the tall Punjabis mate with them. And yet the people there, and particularly the Jamaat and including Muhammad Yunus, are rooting for Pakistan. Best of luck to them, let them enjoy. But they're facing a great danger, and the danger is the Arakan army, which has moved into South Bangladesh. In addition, Bangladesh is a basket case. It's got no money, no food, nothing. I don't know how Pakistan is going to help them. And the Americans had destabilized the country so much, they haven't come out in open help, support of them. Everything goes from India, and India is throttling the tap. So it's going to be something which the Bengalis are not going to like. But that is precisely what's happening. My view is Bengal is going to collapse. That is East Pakistan erstwhile and now Bangladesh. And you can well imagine the mindset of these people, that they want to remove the photograph of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman from the currency notes of Bangladesh. I mean, you can't be that silly. He was the man who won you freedom, and you say nothing. And recently, the Bengalis in East Pakistan and erstwhile East Pakistan and now Bangladesh are using the word East Pakistan again and again because that is what they want to be. They want to become East Pakistan again and be under the jackboots of the Pakistan army. You know what happened in Dhaka, the famous rape of Dhaka University. So many girls were just abducted, raped. Well, so many intellectuals shot dead. I think something is wrong in the mental thinking of Muhammad Yunus. And it's about time there was a military intervention. There will be, I'm pretty sure about it. India is going to do it in some stage. We'll have to wait and see how it works out. Again, it's a tinderbox. Next, I come to the last section, and that is China. Now, China had been given carte blanche by the Americans to occupy the South China Sea from the time of Bill Clinton. I don't know what was the reason behind it. But as President Duterte said, the Americans were not serious about the South China Sea, simply because if they wanted to stop the Chinese from exploiting that region, they could have sent 5 aircraft carriers there and nipped the Chinese in the butt. They didn't do that. Now all they're doing is to send some frigate or destroyer, as a navigation exercise of right of passage and all that bullshit, I would say. but the battle is basically going to be that China wants to claim what it feels is its right, and that is Taiwan. And the Americans have already tied themselves in knot because Richard Nixon went to China. He paid obeisance to the Chinese Emperor Mao Zedong, and he agreed that there would be only one China, and that would be mainland China. So you tie yourself in knots, and then you say, well, we're going to defend Ukraine. I think it's a defenseless position as far as the Americans are concerned. They got no defense in depth in the Pacific. Japan is a past bar, can't fight a damn thing, I can tell you. And the Philippines as good as zero. And I don't think Vietnam is going to fight for the Americans. And the only thing is they will try to see that China border with India hots up. That's what the Americans want. So India and China fight, and India comes on the side of the Americans, so they have the manpower. That's the only way they can defeat the Chinese dragon. But it's not something so easy, I can tell you, gentlemen, not so easy at all. And America is on the back foot in the Pacific. It's because of their own foolishness. I don't know how Donald Trump is going to solve this problem. He's gone about in the right manner by calling President Xi for his swearing-in ceremony. He's a man with an open mind, but open minds sometimes don't help. I don't know what the hell is going to be done in the future. There's North Korea also blowing hot and cold, so the whole region is tense. The Americans would like to dominate the entire South Pacific, South China Sea, Eastern Pacific, and they got 4 aircraft carriers, but these aircraft carriers may not last very long in a missile war. And what happens if they are sunk or attacked? Where's the backup? Gentlemen, I'm now going to come to the end of my video. I've given a rambling picture of what's happening in the world, and more on it because this topic demands a very, very long video. But I've given you some thoughts. That means everything is in a state of flux. We'll have to see what happens in future. And in the meanwhile, I'll request you all to subscribe to my channels and do subscribe, like and share. And I will close now and say Jai Hind and God bless. Thank you, sir.